So the first thing to understand in terms of letting go is that its main focus is on feelings more so than, say, thoughts. Okay, and the reason being is it's the accumulated pressure of feelings which causes thoughts. One feeling, for instance, say you're experiencing fear, can cause literally thousands of thoughts over a period of time. Okay, and what we try to do is we try to use thoughts to get rid of these thoughts. We just look at all those 1,000 thoughts and we're like, how can I rationalize my way out of this one? How can I reframe this one to get rid of it? When in reality, okay, if you can let go of the underlying feeling, all of the associated thoughts, okay, if you can let go of fear, all of those thousands upon thousands of thoughts associated to fear will disappear as well. Okay, so the main focus here is on feelings. And what I thought we'd start off with here is just look at the three major ways we all tend to go about handling our feelings. Okay, and those are suppression and repression, expression, and escape. Okay, so the first one is suppression and repression. Okay, suppression happens consciously. Okay, and this is where, so you have a feeling that's a little unpleasant or a quote-unquote negative feeling. You just don't want to deal with it right now, and you don't want to let it bother you. You don't want to have to actually experience it. So what do? You just consciously stuff it down. You consciously suppress it and just go about your day or whatever task is at hand as if nothing happened. You just toughen up. I'll deal with this later. I don't have time to bother with this emotion. You stuff it down. Okay, that's suppression. Repression happens unconsciously where there's so much, say, guilt or fear over the feeling that you don't even consciously experience it. It's immediately stuffed down. And what happens here is that over time these feelings accumulate, okay, and they form our subconscious. Okay, and our subconscious is simply all of the thoughts, all of the feelings that we're just too afraid to look at, we just don't want to deal with, and we just keep stuffing down. Okay, we all have this, and the two best methods our mind uses, let's just say to keep these feelings repressed, keep them stuffed down, is one, denial. Okay, we just deny that we have all this. Probably if you're watching this right now, you're like, I don't have anything that's suppressed or repressed. It's like, yeah, sure, I might keep them down for a little bit, but eventually I'll vent them out. My subconscious is clean. Not really. Okay, you just kind of deny it's there. And the other method is projection. Okay, where you just project them onto the world and the people around you. Okay, and he says here, if you're not willing to experience the feeling internally, you will experience it externally. Okay, and I'm sure you can relate to this. Say you're really upset about something, you just really hold it down. You're like, okay, I'm over it. Yet you get really mad at this person or at this situation, or something will pop up that'll allow you to, again, reface and continuously reface those feelings. Okay, so that's the first way, which obviously doesn't work. The second is expression. Okay, and what happens here is that the feeling is vented, verbalized, stated in body language, or acted out. Okay, and the reason we do this is that the suppressed and repressed feelings, okay, everything we've been stuffing down over a long period of time, reaches a critical point, okay, where we just can't hold it down anymore. And basically, we have this little burst and we express it for a brief moment. Okay, we just let out enough, okay, to let some of that inner pressure out so we can just keep it repressed. It's like, okay, it's, critical point, little burst, we're good. Until the next critical point, little burst. And most of us, this is how we live our lives. Okay, like we're literally like holding it down, and like it's the little straw that breaks the camel's back, let's just say, and you've probably overreacted. Like you're really upset, you just hold on to that anger. Some little thing happens, you're in the traffic light, boom, light's red. What the you like overreact? Why? It wasn't really the red light that got you that upset. That was the fucking straw that broke the camel's back. That was the little bit of extra anger, let's just say, that you couldn't hold down, so you have to vent a little bit to keep the rest down in the long run. Okay, and we all do this. We tend to think too, okay, as a little side note, that it's our external circumstances that cause us stress or all these negative feelings, when not really. Okay, what he says is the rationalizing mind prefers to keep the true causes of emotion out of awareness and utilizes, as I mentioned before, the mechanism of projection. It blames events, other people for causing a feeling, when in reality it's the opposite. Okay, it's the suppressed and repressed feelings that seek an outlet and utilize external events, let's just say, as triggers and excuses to vent themselves. And I can't stress enough this mechanism of projection. Okay, it's the person with a lot of repressed or suppressed grief who will experience a lot of sad events in life. It's the fearful person who will create all these frightening experiences. It's the angry person who becomes surrounded by infuriating circumstances. It's the prideful person who is constantly being insulted. Okay, and because of social conditioning, okay, people even suppress and repress their positive feelings as well. Okay, as a little side note. So that's the second way we all tend to go about handling our emotions. The third way is escape. Okay, and this is the avoidance of those feelings through diversion. Okay, and he writes down this is the backbone of the entertainment and liquor industries and the route of the workaholic. Okay, where we try to avoid our inner selves at all costs. Okay, and keep our feelings from emerging by an endless, pursuit, let's just say, of all of these different external things. Okay, that'll oftentimes turn to addictions. As our dependency grows upon them, okay? Things or activities like socializing, talking, texting, reading, playing music, working, traveling, sightseeing, shopping, overeating, gambling, movie-going, pill-taking, drug using, drinking, partying, so on and so forth, okay? All those external things, all those little activities, anything to just keep us unconscious and not have to focus on what's actually going on inside. Next time, say you're waiting for a friend, or say you have a meeting with someone, and let's just say you're there early or that person's late, how soon until you reach for your phone? Or after work, how soon until you get home and you just turn on the television, blast some music, go online? How often are you really just alone with your feelings, alone with your thoughts? Not very often. We kind of create our lives in a way where we're just always unconscious, just always lost in activities. The same as he mentioned with, being a workaholic. A lot of people are just like working, like next goal, to not have to experience what's actually going on inside. Okay, as I mentioned before, many of these mechanisms of trying to escape are faulty. They're stressful. They're ineffective. They just don't work. Okay, and you actually tend to realize that after a period of time, like you're seeking all these external things, like. Maybe if I go drinking, maybe if I, lose myself in external, stimuli or pleasure, it'll finally take care of itself. Like maybe if I get enough money and more money, it never works. Okay, it's like, oh fuck, I got it, didn't work, and here I still am. That internal, those repressed and suppressed emotions are still there. I'm still not happy. Now here comes the fourth way of handling your emotions, and this is the way the book suggests, which is letting them go. Okay, and the way this works is you tap into what you're feeling. Okay, you tap into, just what's going on inside. And as I mentioned before, do not focus on the thoughts. Okay, focus on the feeling itself. Okay, thoughts are endless and self-reinforcing. Okay, that's important to understand too. They only breed more thoughts. You can't use thought to get rid of thought. Okay, and pursuing thoughts can keep us occupied endlessly. He writes down here, it's like a goldfish in a bowl. Okay, so don't focus on the thoughts when you go inside. Focus on the emotions. And you can do this now. You're watching this video. What's going on inside? How do you feel? Okay, and be honest with yourself. Let those emotions come up. Okay, it's letting them come up, allowing yourself to have that feeling without resisting it, which you may be doing right now. You're like, I don't really want to let up what I'm feeling. What if there's more of that? Well, guess what? If there is more of that and you don't let it up, what's going to happen? You're going to stuff it down. Okay, and if you're not willing to experience it and let it go, it's going to stay with you and you're going to continuously experience it in the external. So, what are you feeling right now? Don't resist it. Let it up. Don't fear it, and more importantly, don't judge it. Okay, don't view it as good. Don't view it as bad. It's just a feeling. Okay, and just bring it up and experience it. Stay with that feeling. Okay, acknowledge it. Go into it, surrender to it, okay, and surrender all efforts to try to modify it anyway. It's what you're actually feeling. Really, try to turn off all thoughts. What are you feeling? Bring it up, okay? And simply just stay with it while acknowledging it and let it run its course. Just let it go, okay? Don't try to change it. Don't want to control it. Just let it go, and as long as it takes, just stay with that feeling, okay? And what you'll probably realize is sometimes within seconds, sometimes maybe a few minutes, maybe a little bit longer, at some point it'll just run its course and the energy behind it will be gone. Okay, now maybe something else will pop up after that And guess what? You just repeat the process of just letting it come up, staying with it, letting it run its course, and just letting it go. Okay? Just like pulling tissues out of a box. Just keep pulling out, pulling out, pulling out, pulling out till ideally there's nothing left. Okay? And what you'll experience here is every time you actually let it go, and you'll catch yourself resisting it massively. You're like, oh, it's up. You're like, oh, like, really let it go. You can't think your way out of it. Like, ideally even through breathing. You'll just feel immediately lighter, immediately clearer, and it'll just be like a lot of this pressure, like a sense of decompression, I would say. Okay, you just let a little bit out.